Welcome back to the Explainer. We've been building out a seriously comprehensive toolkit of focused utilities for real-world Python development, covering stuff like TDM, Logaroo, and Python decouple. Well, today, we are tackling a universally annoying developer headache, test data generation. I mean, we've all spent way too much time manually typing John Doe and test@test.com into forms, just desperately trying to get a test to pass, right? Today, we're diving into how the Python library Faker completely automates this whole ordeal, creating brilliantly authentic test data in literally seconds.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with a test data problem, move into the basics of generating fake data, dive into advanced features and localization, look at real-world scenarios regarding privacy, and then wrap up with some best practices. All right, Section 1, the test data problem, leaving those lazy placeholders behind. We need to start with a fundamental challenge here. Be honest with yourself right now. Are you still relying on random, meaningless strings like foo and test1 for your inputs? In an earlier explainer on the hypothesis library, we looked at how randomized data is amazing for finding wild edge cases. But a lot of the time, you need data that looks entirely realistic. If your test names are only ever 4 characters long, you're simply never going to catch that bug where a 30-character name completely shatters your user interface layout. Placeholders just don't stress test your system the way real user input does.
As you can see here, developers are almost universally terrible at making up fake data on the fly. We instinctively reach for test1, 123 fake street, or admin@example.com. The big issue? This lazy data completely bypasses the real-world validation checks we actually need to be testing. What we truly need are plausible-sounding names, emails with varied domain structures, and realistic street addresses complete with diverse zip codes. By shifting away from our generic placeholders to authentic-looking data, we catch validation errors and formatting issues way before they ever hit production.
Moving on to Section 2, generating fake data basics. Introducing Faker.
Let's look at the solution and see how elegant this workflow actually is. Setting this tool up is a total breeze. Step 1, you just install it via pip. Step 2, you initialize it by creating a Faker instance. Assigning it to a variable, like fake, gives you this remarkably powerful object loaded with built-in data generators. In Step 3, you put it to work. You generate individual pieces of fake data by simply calling methods directly on that object. Calling fake.name gives you a realistic full name. Fake.email hands you a properly formatted email, and fake.address whips up a full street location. It's a highly intuitive, object-oriented approach to generating your data.
Section 3, advanced features and localization, tailoring your data. Beyond those basic method calls, Faker has some seriously powerful capabilities, starting with localization. If you pass a locale code, like n_in for India, into your Faker instance, it alters the generation engine entirely. Instead of defaulting to American conventions, it generates data reflecting Indian naming structures, phone numbers, and address formats. This is absolutely crucial for testing international applications. Different regions use entirely different character sets and postal code lengths. Testing localized data makes sure your application doesn't just suddenly crash the moment it encounters an address format you simply weren't expecting.
Then there's the concept of seeding. By default, Faker generates random data every single time your script runs. But for reproducibility, which is a principle we emphasized heavily in our very first explainer on requirements files, randomness can sometimes make debugging an absolute nightmare. Calling faker.seed ensures your tests behave consistently. By passing in a fixed integer, you're forcing Faker's internal random number generator to output the exact same sequence of fake data every single time. Meaning, if a test fails in your continuous integration pipeline, you can reliably reproduce that exact failure locally without chasing ghosts all afternoon.
Now, sometimes you don't just need isolated data points, right? You need an entire identity. Instead of calling separate methods for a name, an email, and an address, calling fake.profile conveniently returns a complete Python dictionary representing a single individual. You instantly get a name, an address, a job title, and a birth date, all properly and sensibly connected. Actually, it's not just random text, it has relational integrity. This is an incredibly efficient way to mock up entire user profiles or populate user-based database models using literally a single line of code.
Connecting directly back to the testing block we covered in an earlier explainer, there's actually a dedicated plugin called PyTest Faker. This provides a highly convenient Faker fixture. This is fantastic because it means you can access a properly configured Faker instance directly within any given PyTest function as an argument. You completely bypass the need to manually import and initialize Faker in every single test file. It keeps your test suites remarkably clean, efficient, and wonderfully dry.
And hey, if the dozens of built-in categories aren't enough, Faker allows you to create your own custom providers. You can define new fake data generation methods tailored entirely to your specific domain. For instance, if you're building an e-learning platform like Uplatz, you can write a provider that generates plausible-sounding technical course titles rather than generic catchphrases. This directly echoes the powerful extensibility principles we discussed regarding Flask extensions in a previous explainer, allowing the tool to adapt precisely to your app's unique context.
All right, Section 4. Real-world scenarios and privacy. Practical application.
Let's tie everything together with a realistic professional scenario. Imagine you need to demonstrate a newly built admin dashboard to your stakeholders. If you show them a graphical interface filled with empty tables or obviously fake text like user1, it looks, frankly, unfinished and cheap. Instead, you run a simple script, and Faker instantly populates it with dozens of plausible records. Suddenly, stakeholders are seeing realistic graphs, authentic-looking user lists, and proper data density. It instantly elevates your work, making the demonstration considerably more professional and genuinely convincing.
Similarly, imagine needing to properly load test a database feature. You don't just need 5 users, you need 500. Rather than manually creating them, no thank you, you can wrap Faker in a simple Python loop to automatically generate that massive batch of records. Then, as we discussed in an earlier explainer on object relational mappers, you use a tool like SQL Alchemy to batch insert them directly into your test database. In milliseconds, you have a fully populated production-scale database ready for robust, high-volume testing.
This brings us to a vital, impartial point about data privacy, touching on concerns we've raised in the past regarding web scraping. In the era of modern compliance frameworks, testing with actual production data is incredibly dangerous. Faker provides a highly secure alternative. It allows you to stress test your system with realistic-looking names, credit card formats, and physical addresses while completely eliminating the risk of ever using or accidentally exposing actual private information. It protects your application's integrity and your user's privacy all at the same time.
Finally, Section 5. Best practices and summary. Let's elevate that toolkit.
To summarize our core takeaways for your daily workflow, first, completely stop using generic placeholders. They frequently fail to reveal layout and validation bugs that only surface when your app processes varied, realistic data. Second, always use faker.seed in your automated pipelines to guarantee your tests behave predictably when failures inevitably occur. And third, take full advantage of Faker's robust localization support to ensure your application can beautifully handle data variations globally, not just locally. So, Faker perfectly complements the testing tools we've explored, ensuring your databases and product demonstrations are both highly realistic and strictly privacy-conscious. It's a real game changer. But as we look ahead to our next explainer on the Python dateutil library, I want to leave you with the question: how are you currently managing complex dates, time zones, and leap years in your code? Are your current methods actually as robust as your newly minted test data? Make sure you are subscribed because we have 13 more powerful Python packages ahead of us in this series. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you in the next explainer.